I wish that medicine actually looked at that visual system and looked at the Ferrari, but whatever, right? They blame the genetics. They say that's just how he's wired. Medicate the symptom. Give him drugs so that he doesn't even realize that he's supposed to be on the track to begin with. That is what medicine does. Attention chiropractors, slayers of subluxation, unleashers of the imprisoned impulse, and protectors of the developing brain. Welcome to the Cranial Doc Podcast, where we master the work that actually changes lives. Craniopathy, nervous system-based care, and the business systems that let you scale without selling your soul. I'm Dr. Anthony Pellegrino, pediatric chiropractor, certified craniopath, and proud automation geek. Let's dive in. What's up there, subluxation slayers? We are going to have a lot of fun today because I am going to talk to you guys a little bit about this analogy that I've been using in my office for the last couple months that when we said it the first time, I was like, oh, that's good. It's one of the things your team's like, hey, do you have that written down? It's like, no, but I don't know how to pen on me. Can you guys write this down? Because I'm totally going to forget it. And I want you guys to understand this and use this. Of course, I'm going to plug some different programs that aren't mine out there that I think would really help you with this. But we're going to really make a lot of sense for some challenging cases for you today. Okay? We're going to look at a pediatric case using this analogy through the lens of what we've learned with Dr. Amy Spoelstra with Focus and Brain Blossom, and also talk about how this might apply to some of your little bit differently adult patients with some like pelvic instability, running on chronic physiological stress. Okay? So on the pediatric side, and again, this analogy we're going to be talking about today is called the Ferrari and the tractor, okay? So essentially the concept here is that our nervous system, our developing nervous system, has two different tools we really care about. We have our Ferrari that is meant for really, really, really high level tasks, and we have our tractor that is meant to plow the field, the really low automatic stuff that is supposed to run without anybody thinking about it. So that's the tractor. The Ferrari is more high level, executive function, vision, adaptability, the stuff that really is like higher level processing for the nervous system, okay? In your classical, like let's say ADHD case, where you're seeing like they're struggling with socialization, they're go, they're stuck in that gross and fine motor, this is going to be really, really, really important. Okay, so one of the things that we do through Dr. Amy Spoelstra's focus evaluation is of course we're looking at most important thing that she talks about and that we talk about that I want to be really clear on is that nervous system stress, subluxation, scans, whatever else that you do to be able to use to be able to assess for subluxation, is that nervous system stuck in fight or flight at all? That is the most important piece of that, right? But when we also look at it, we have that, and we also want to make it really, really real for the parent, understanding how their brain is socialized, engaging, learning, developing in their world, right? Being stuck in chronic physiological stress shows up with how their brain is processing, and we can physically see that. So for one example, right, let's say that we have this kid and we're going through and we're looking and we're testing we'll call them their lower level tasks. So we're looking at their primitive reflexes, gross motor, fine motor, whatever else that you're looking at. It doesn't matter for this case, right? So they're doing it with their eyes open. And maybe you're seeing some signs of like sympathetic stress, right? But overall, they're able to do the test, okay? They can get through it. Then they go close their eyes and they go to the test and everything goes to shit. Right? It's like, whoa. And their parents will be like, what just happened? Right? You know, whatever test you're doing, it's like, okay, cool. Oh, can you do this? Let me see your handwriting. Like, can you do finger tap? Whatever else it is. It's okay, close your eyes, do the same thing. That is two different children. Like, there's no way. Eyes open and eyes closed. And I thought about this for a while when we were doing this. Like, you know, why is that happening? Right? How do we explain this? How do we help make this really easy for a parent? So this is where the Ferrari and the tractor come in. That child is using their Ferrari, right? The higher level executive function, the stuff that the world, school, grandparents, socialization, everything else demands of him to have this higher level skill of the Ferrari, but his tractor is broken down, right? It's out of gas. And so because of that, he can't get to that higher level stuff until he plows the field. So he's using the Ferrari to go and do the farm tasks. And by the time the brain is needed, the Ferrari is needed to get out there on the track and do the important stuff, it's freaking destroyed. It's out. It can't do the higher level stuff because it's been exhausted trying to get the kid through his reflexive lower level actual thinking. The same thing happens, let's call it, for adult who's category 2, pelvic instability, right? Who's also stuck in chronic physiological stress. Every time they're upright against gravity, their brain is spending unnecessary higher level resources or just expending energy to be able to keep the body upright against gravity because it's not getting enough stability. It's so focused on this lower level stuff, by the time it's getting to that actual adaptability, participating in the world, it's freaking exhausted. Both of these people are using their Ferrari to plow their field all day. What is the Ferrari built for? It is built for school, for adaptability, for socialization. It's supposed to take him around the track, but it is broken down because it's spent all day plowing a field. Same thing for the adult. Whatever the Ferrari is supposed to be doing all day, it never actually got the chance because it's been used for the farm tasks, the tasks that are meant for the tractor, but the tractor is broken down, right? This will land, clean it up, I'm riffing on ya. This will land for your parents because medicine, they're not even they're not even looking at the Ferrari, dude. Like, okay, it's cool. Oh, treat the cause, not the symptom. And it's like, yeah, the Ferrari's broken down. Don't treat the Ferrari, dude. They're not even freaking looking at the Ferrari. I wish that they looked at the Ferrari. I wished that they could see that the visual system was going haywire. Which, by the way, look at every ADHD kiddo that you have in your office and look at their conversion and fixation and see that it's an absolute freaking shit show. And then go to Amy's course and learn exactly why and how you can work with that, right? And how to communicate that with parents. But whatever, right? I wish that medicine actually looked at that visual system and looked at the Ferrari, or they looked at anything else and blamed that and started to treat that. That would be way better than what they do, which is just blame the driver. They blame the genetics. They say that's just how he's wired. They say that's just how he is. Maybe they even take him off the freaking track and they go put him in an alter one. They just try to lower the demands. He'll never be able to run this track. Medicate the symptom. Give him drugs so that he doesn't even realize that he's supposed to be on the track to begin with. That is what medicine does. Now, what we know in our office is, again, this is from Dr. Amy, which I love wording it this way, the brain is not fully developed at birth. It does not grow in a vacuum. It grows and develops based off of the input that it receives. That is disafferentation. We in chiropractic recognize that that child is using the Ferrari to do the farm tasks. We recognize that. We know the problem. We know that the Ferrari is broken down, and we want to get there or eventually bring in the providers, which is what I do, bring in the providers that know how to fix the Ferrari. But before we fix the Ferrari, we got to get the tractor doing the farm tasks. We need to correct the subluxation so the right input actually reaches the brain, so the tractor gets built right in the first place. Because without that, the nervous system develops that chronic fight or flight state, right? There's all different tools, primitive reflexes, gross fine motor, everything else like that is tractor. We are putting the freaking gas in so it can do the job, right? You need the gas in it. That is the most important piece. That chronic physiological stress, it becomes the lens for these children, right? It's not that we're stuck in fight or flight. What it is that we're stuck in fight or flight while we're growing and developing, which means that that becomes the lens that the nervous system grows through and learns through and socializes through and engages through and lays down the pathways through that it will do those things, learn, grow, develop, socialize, and engage for the rest of its life. It will do so in a fight or flight state because this is not a temporary fight or flight pattern. For these developing kids, it becomes permanent. So, recognize when these children are using the Ferrari to do their farm tasks. Have objective measures to be able to do that. Let the parent see life through their child's eyes just a little bit. Maybe even use some right now strategies to say, hey, right now, this child is in chronic sympathetic stress, so maybe we just change the track just for a little bit while we're repairing the tractor, right? Fix the tractor. Let it start plowing the field so the Ferrari doesn't need to do so. So the Ferrari never has to leave the garage until it's actually time for the track. That is the whole model. Not chasing the symptom that's sitting on top. Finding out which system got stuck doing a job that it was never built for. So, no call to action for me on you today. Just a frame that you can use in your office this week. When you've got that adult who's spending all of their time just trying to get stability to be able to get through the day, and they're stuck in chronic physiological stress, Say, of course you are. Your brain hasn't had the ability to be able to manage the stressors, the physical, chemical, and emotional stressors of your world because it's been stuck doing low-level tasks. And by time it's gotten to the place where it can handle you losing your job, getting stuck in traffic, dealing with your shitty partner, it's freaking white, dude. There's nothing left. Let's get your tractor back online, holding your body upright so your brain can actually focus on what's important. For that kiddo who sits there in school and just takes every ounce of his being to just sit there and get through the day and gets home and absolutely freaking collapses, have outcome measures and objective measurements to be able to see exactly what it is that they are doing so that you can track the progress beyond saying, oh, hey, they're in fight or flight. That's bad. It looks like they're less fight or flight now. And the reason we know that is because you're telling me that these symptoms changed. We don't treat symptoms, but if symptoms don't change, I have no objective measure to see how your child's brain is changing. Have the objective measures in, be able to track what's actually going on, be able to let that parent see life through their child's eyes and get them understanding that their brain needs to be using the tractor for farm tasks so that it can use the Ferrari for track tasks. That is what we get to do. I wish the medicine freaking even looked at the Ferrari, but understand what it is. We get to be the quarterback and say, not only we're putting gas in the tractor, who is doing what when is it time to bring in other providers to work on the appropriate pieces. Let's make sure that the brain and nervous system are developing in the right order, that we are doing our job, that we are helping them grow, develop, engage, socialize, learn, and adapt in their world for the rest of their lives. That, my friends, is a short, sweet, fiery episode. And it's short because the Ferrari, every time I've used this analogy with a parent, they're like, oh my God, that's my child. And I think it's so cool that we get to be the ones to help them change the lens and relate and connect better with their child because they can understand better what their child's going through. So of course, they can make the better decisions, get their child face down so they're nervous and adapt better to stress, but they can also be the parent that their child needs because they understand what their child's brain is doing. And they can see when it changes, they know when it's time to bring back in demand. And that's what we get to do. Cool. Go slay some subluxations. Love you. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Cranial Doc Podcast. I hope you got a ton of value out of today's episode. And if you did, it would mean the world to me if you jumped over to iTunes or your favorite podcast player of choice and subscribed, rated, reviewed, and shared this episode with a friend that you know could benefit. We have a ton of this information and more in our free email series at thecranialdoc.com. So go ahead and jump on there, subscribe, and get me raw, unfiltered in your inbox every week, changing your practice. Can't wait to see you for the next episode.